Hello, everybody.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
It is Fresh Takes.
Fresh Takes, episode 7. Do you know, if you watched one episode a week...
You messed up the joke.
Poor
delivery,
poor
that is.
Delivery. I'll try again. Well, you never get... You're never going to score if you get a good delivery. We'll try again. If you watched one episode a week over 7 weeks, you'd have...
7 weeks of content.
7 weeks of
I think
content.
You've messed it up
I've
again.
messed that up again. Anyway.
But welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you're all good. I was going to say it's lovely to see you, but obviously we can't see you. But yeah, it's the 7th episode of Fresh Takes. We're going to do a little bit of bit of recap as to some of the things that were going on in the world of Fruit Box, and then we'll be moving on to a few other bits and pieces. So
yeah.
First off, we are still working with, if you are tuning into our Instagram and Haywards Heath Town Football Club's Instagram, you'll see we've started to release a few nice reels and bits for them.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of work for Haywards Heath. Really excited for the upcoming season. So if you're into your local football and want to see sort of the content we're making for them, little bits and bobs, go check it out. We've done some really exciting player announcements, players they've signed for the new season.
Big ups.
Pretty cool, yeah. Some pretty cool content.
Yeah, so
if I may say so myself.
I'm sounding a little bit biased, but I think it's all right. I think we're allowed to be biased here.
But yeah, go check out Haywards Heath's Instagram, their Twitter, to see what we've been doing for them.
See what we've been doing for it. I think we might hopefully be able to post some of it on our accounts at some point, just as a bit of a showcase. But for the meantime, have a look and see what we're doing over there. Yeah. Next order of business. The crowdfunder.
Crowdfunder is over. It's done.
It's over. It is done.
And we reached our
goal.
Which is really exciting. Really amazing. Big props to Tiana. She smashed it in the last week and a half. I think it pretty much doubled, didn't it?
It just went mental.
It blew up.
Yeah, fantastic.
It did really, really well. So
thank you.
Really nice traction on that.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your support on that. It's really exciting. I mean, it kind of, like we say, it just went mental over the last week. Which was lovely to see, and it's a project we're really excited about. I think it's going to be something that's going to be really wonderful to see. It's great working with T, obviously, but it's going to be a fantastic thing to do. Great project. So we can't thank you enough for
the
funding
support.
It.
And the funds. Yeah,
the funds. That's it. I mean, it's obviously, I know it's a tough time with everything going on at the moment. The Cosy lives and all that jazz, but it is fantastic that we are able to do projects like this and have your guys' support. Honestly, it's been
absolutely
fantastic.
Big thank you to everybody.
Really quite taken aback.
Even if you didn't put in any money, if you shared it or if you just checked it out and you like the look of it, it all means a lot. So thank you so much. Yeah. And stay tuned for the progress of that, because like we've said before, if you want to check out Tiana, her content's really cool. What she's doing in Southeast Asia, not just to do with the elephant documentary, but
just in general, lots of really fantastic travel content,
animal, all sorts,
all sorts
really
of
great content,
conservation bits and pieces. It's been really great to watch. So we're I'm really looking
it's
forward
really exciting. Really glad
sorry, we're rolling back through
We've got our production budget and a hell of a lot of money to go to the elephant sanctuaries, which is amazing, and I'm sure they'll be really pleased.
I'm sure they'll be dead chuffed.
We're pretty pleased as well.
Yeah, they'll be dead chuffed with it, I'm sure. But yeah, that's it. I think that's all. Is that every order of business, I think?
No.
Oh, no.
Since our last episode, Jumping Out the Window has come out.
Yes, of course.
Come on, Sam.
Come on, that's awful.
Our first short film has gone public.
It has gone public.
Failed to mention
it, yeah.
No, that's absolutely fine. Jumping Out the Window is out. It's on our YouTube. Go check it out. Award nominated, officially selected by several festivals. Sorry.
Yes.
Really great film. I mean, this was filmed well over a year ago, very early on in our sort of filmmaking, video making careers.
It was pretty much the first Fruit Box production, really.
It was, without knowing it at the time. It kind of was, wasn't it?
It kind of became the birth of it. So, and obviously working with Maya's fantastic.
Maya's fantastic.
So it's a great chance for you to go and have a look and see what she's capable of, and all the amazing stuff that she's doing. I think it's a really proud thing to do this. So
it's really great for it to finally be out, because it's nice in two ways, because I'm still very proud of it, but it's also nice to see how far we've come in that time.
Definitely.
Obviously, this film, if you don't know, doesn't have any props and any set. Maya is the only character, and everything around her is blacked out, which was intentional, obviously. But no, it's really cool to see kind of how far we've come. Like, we've now got our own equipment, and we're completely our own
thing
now.
And which is lovely to see, and it's fantastic to kind of
look back where it all sort of begun.
It sounds weird saying like look back, because it's just come out, but it's nice to have these things available for you guys to see as well. I think it's nice to share it to a completely different audience, and it goes to, it's nice to show everybody that this is something that we can do and that we have done. And it's nice to have those things out there, as it were.
And hopefully you enjoy it, because it was a monologue I wrote that we then kind of turned into sort of an experimental kind of short film. It's very different.
It's very different, and
maybe not in a good way.
Well, let us know in the comments and all that jazz. But what I would say is we also did a really great, I don't know if you've seen it already, but if you haven't, go and check it out. We did a bit of an interview with Maya, didn't we?
Sat down with her
at the Actors, which was fantastic, and had a really great chat with her on that. So
so go check that out. There's quite a lot of good behind the scenes kind of knowledge and talks about jumping out the window with her, and also the projects she's doing. So she's going to be in Les Mis in the Brighton Theatre.
The new Theatre Royal.
That's it. And she's also working on a 48-hour film project. And is still doing lots of work for Brighton University. We were at Brighton University.
We were at Brighton.
Actually,
we can talk about this now, actually, can't
shout
we?
Out Brighton University.
Shout out Brighton University.
Shout out Johnny.
Shout out Johnny and John and
everyone who was there.
Everyone who was there.
Yeah.
Kian, shout out Kian. But we were invited to go to the graduate film show.
Which was really kind of Johnny and Brighton University. It was really great to be back and see some people.
It was lovely to be back, and it was lovely to see all the amazing films that were there. I mean, there were quite a few that we had seen just through our Instagram feeds and things like that came out. So it was really interesting to go and watch. Yeah. And it was so nice seeing such a crop of talent come through as well. Like it's
different genres of project and different. Yeah. I
think it's you weren't there actually for our graduate film show last year, were you?
I was in Italy.
You were gallivanting around Italy. But it felt like a real celebration. It was nice to go back and have that, and I'm sure those guys will be, I think they'll be floating around on Instagram and things like that, so I think that quite a few of them, the accounts and things are listed, I believe, on the Brighton Uni Film page, which is, I think, at Uni Brighton Film, I think, so go and check that out. But there is honestly
quite a few of them are involved with Brighton Rocks as well, and
Brighton Rocks,
some festivals, so I'm sure if you wanted
Genesis
to
as well,
New
Genesis,
so I'm sure you'll be able to watch some of them, if not all of them, hopefully
soon. But it was really good to come along and do that. So that was
when I come around, we'll definitely be at New Genesis. I'm pretty
sure. I think that's coming out on YouTube. Actually, I think.
Right. Yeah.
I believe sometime in July. So. Don't quote me on that, because I've seen it on it. Sorry, Kian, if you're watching this,
that a little bit
and
wrong.
We've got that completely wrong.
But when it comes out, go give it a watch.
Go give it a watch. We definitely enjoyed it when it came.
It was a really great film.
When it came around,
Tom in it. So Tom was in it, which was really great. We got to see him as well. We're hoping to get him on this actually.
Yes.
To talk about New Genesis, but
we'd really like to do a bit of maybe we'll talk about New Genesis a bit closer to the time. But it's a festival that's held in I believe September. So it was last year
in Brighton Odeon.
I don't know if they changed the venue. It was last year, but it was a really cool event. So I think we'll be going this year, definitely.
So we'll talk about that a bit more.
We'll talk about it a bit more, maybe close to the time. Or when we've got Tom, hopefully, on the podcast.
Yes, yeah.
Done. We're also cooking up a little bit of new, fresh produce behind the scenes as well. So we've got another episode of that coming soon. We will leave that under wraps for the minute to keep you on tender hooks, as it were.
Yeah, but we've got that in the works. So
there'll
be another episode of that coming soon. And again, if you're a musician, an artist,
yes, please get in touch.
Yeah, get in touch, and we'll have you on.
We'd love to have you on.
We'd love to meet you,
talk to you, perform some songs.
Yeah,
we're going to talk. I was going to talk a little bit about TV, because I've been recently. So a show that's recently come to an end that I've been rewatching from the start is Big Mouth, which is like an animated comedy about children going through puberty, and there's monsters. And it's weird and funny. But that's coming to an end. I'm just about to finish the last season, which came out a couple of weeks ago. But it's quite funny, because I was thinking about this the other day. I remember that show coming out about, I want to say, 7 years ago or so. So it's been quite, the point of the show is these characters are growing up and going through, they're going through changes and puberty and all that jazz. But it's quite weird. Coming of age. But it's quite nice to see there's been a change in characters and things over the last few series. I mean, it is, I will happily admit, batshit crazy a lot of the time, and a lot of it doesn't make sense, and there's like a lot of, crude and quite overtly Larry things in it. But I mean, I'm not going to go into specifics because I think we probably. Well, I don't think we'd get cancelled, but I think it's not maybe.
We'll spoil it for people.
We'll spoil it for people. But I would recommend you watch it just because it is quite. It can be really light-hearted, and that's the thing I quite enjoy about it. But it does deal with quite serious topics as well, which is quite nice.
Yeah. No, it's nice those sort of films, TV that challenge
that
those sort of
norms. Is that right?
Yeah.
But it is just silly, and I think that's the thing. Like we were saying the other week, where things don't. It's nice to have things that don't take themselves too seriously. I think
completely agree. Yeah,
I think it's one of those shows that I think I've watched for ages and slightly shut off and just gone, God, this is so insane and stupid, but I quite enjoy it, and it's coming to an end, so it's a bit sad. Think about it, it's 8 series.
Oh wow!
Also,
wow.
Which is a fair investment of my time. I've done that because basically I hadn't seen the end of the last series. I think something just got in the way or whatever. So I spent the past month trying to rewatch all of it before the new series came out. I missed that by a long chalk, but it's been quite it's just a bit silly. And I think I will be remiss when it's gone because even though it did have some slightly more wayward stories and it did go off in its own directions and there was some waste of time, but then again with a stretching over like 8 series, I think that's not uncommon, especially for that sort of TV as well. Like it just weirdly veers off in directions with long storylines and whatever. So it's been a ride, put it that way. But tune in next week when I will have finished the series, hopefully, and I can give my full thoughts on what the end of it is. But I just wanted to shout that out and say that's kind of something that I'm watching.
Yeah, nice.
And Jack wants to talk a little bit about remakes, I believe.
Yeah, so we've talked about live action remakes specifically a little bit with Snow White, and we mentioned Lilo and Stitch. And How to Train Your Dragons recently come out,
which is getting really quite positive reviews.
Yes. So I just wanted to sort of, I don't know, summarize what's going on really with cinema at the moment, because there's obviously a hell of a lot of remakes, a hell of a lot of sequels, prequels, spin-offs. It's just filling cinema at the moment, which is unfortunate. So just to sort of mansplain this to everybody very briefly. I'm not sure I'm allowed to say that anymore.
I don't know. Maybe we'll cut it out.
Yeah, maybe we'll cut it out. Maybe we won't. Basically, for younger viewers, there used to be these things called DVDs. So when movies came out, they'd get all the money from people going to see it at the cinema, and then they'd get a second big bit of money from people buying the DVDs when they come out. DVDs don't really exist anymore, although I do have some at my house.
I mean, I've got a ton of DVDs, and I would argue the physical media is still alive.
It's still alive.
HMV's always full of the shelves,
it's
and you get
pretty dead generally.
I don't think I agree with that.
I'm not saying it's completely dead, but it's definitely not as it was.
It's not the main way people watch their films, no, but I mean, I'm very passionate in my physical media terms. So
am I. I've got a big DVD collection.
Yeah, I've got walls of the things and boxes. But I think sorry, so weirdly going on a tangent.
No.
You've angered me. But I think it's more like you get more. I think DVDs aren't what they used to be in terms of when they were almost quite. Not compostable, that's the wrong word. Disposable. Tangible. And I think I think maybe 20 years ago it was more of a disposable thing. It was like,
it was such an experience as well, going to the DVD shop and
that's it. It's
picking the DVD, you know.
It's more of an experience.
Seeing the new releases and stuff. It was I loved that as a kid.
You still get that now to an extent, but it's not to the masses. But I think it's more like people that, you know, admittedly, I will admit, I've got walls and walls of DVDs, but the ease of streaming is it's unparalleled, really, right?
So that's it. So DVDs pretty much, not completely, have been replaced with streaming platforms such as Netflix, Prime, all Apple, you know, all those. Which means basically the movies don't make as much money as they used to, generally speaking. Because they don't make as much money on the streaming platforms as they did from the DVDs. So that has, in my opinion, this is all my opinion, has caused a ripple effect for major studios are worried about not making money, which is why they're obsessed with remakes, sequels, prequels, spin-offs, because they know that's going to get people at the cinema.
It's an easy way to make a big chunk of cash.
Because if, you know, Star Wars is obviously one of the most popular films of all time.
Yeah.
You know, Disney can make a new Star Wars film. It could be pretty awful, which
They are most of the time.
It has been the case, but still make a hell of a lot of money. So that's the issue. But yeah, How to Train Your Dragon has been really well received, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been, and it's not a film that I would have maybe immediately picked, and I don't mean that in like any sort of sense. I loved the original so much. I watched it loads as a kid, and I thought it was fabulous. It's such a nice story.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
anyone can be a hero, really, and it's all There were some fantastic voice performances at the time.
Yeah.
And I think this is kind of the argument you could say, right? Is it is reintroducing these characters and stories to a new generation. Right?
Couldn't agree more.
That.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it's particularly aged that badly at all.
No.
And it's like, you still watch. I mean, I still watch like I want to say E.T., but I've not actually seen E.T. But like Jaws, there's a good example. Jaws, you watch that now, and it still really stands up as
holds up really well.
Really great thing, right? The original Star Wars. We talk about Star Wars a hell of a lot on here. But that's not a bad thing by any means. But it is just these things don't. I don't personally see a point to it, and it does kill that ingenuity. But I can see why on a studio perspective, because it's an easy way to make a couple of million quid, right?
Yeah,
and it's it's an easy way to make millions of pounds quite quickly by having your same actors, your same performances, whatever. It just brings that...
Bringing in the same money, basically.
It brings in that same money, doesn't it, right? And it's a shame, right? I mean, there are some absolutely horrendous reboots.
Yeah, that's the problem. There's too many, really. It's too overpopulated, and there's been a lot of horror stories.
Horror stories. We've talked about Snow White.
Snow White,
The one I'd personally like to talk about is the RoboCop one. Was horrific.
Really? I didn't think it was too bad.
Film so much.
And you were saying you don't like the Jaden Smith Karate Kid as well.
I don't like Jaden Smith's Karate Kid either, no. I do quite like the original Karate Kid, because it is a bit... I think that's the whole thing, right? I mean, I should watch Cobra Kai, actually, because I do quite like the original the original Karate Kid. But I just find it such a... the Jaden Smith one I just find painful to watch. And it's because
It's interesting.
I don't know.
I like it.
That and the original RoboCop, not the original RoboCop, shout the original RoboCop, but the remake of the original RoboCop. Again, I'm like, why am I actually... There's a better film here.
Yeah.
And it's a bit camp and a bit Larry and it looks a bit trashy. But that's kind of the charm of it, right? And I think remaking it to it's the same argument you could have about the special editions as well. It takes the charm out of what they could do at the time and what was possible with your talents, your abilities, your finances, and everything at the time. And it pulls together by going, we'll sink another 700 quid into it. Yeah, 7 million pounds into it, whatever. Of course, it's going to be better, visually or whatever. But it's the same stories, right? And I don't really.
Yeah,
I've got it. I know what happens in Snow White.
Yeah.
I know. I know what happens in Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah,
it's not the end of the world, right?
Yeah, and with those examples, they're recent as well. So do they really need a remake?
They're not far.
That's the point. Now, I think that's my general opinion. It's really nice things like Total Recall, Blade Runner. Films like that are maybe perhaps a little bit dated. Bringing them back,
I think it's like
is brilliant to a new generation. But Lilo and Stitch is only like 5-10 years old.
I think it's older than that.
Oh, it probably is actually a bit older than that. But
still me for time slightly. But I get that the legacy sequel thing really does annoy me, because as much as it's fun to see, the one that really annoys me is I love the original Matrix trilogy like a hell of a lot. It's one of my all-time probably favourites.
Yeah, completely
favourite trilogies. I absolutely love it. I watched Resurrections in the cinema. Not Resurrections. It is Resurrections, the new one where they're all old. Well, they're not that old. 2002, by the way, was the original Lilo and Stitch. So it's
maybe it is a bit dated. But How to Train Your Dragon definitely didn't need a remake.
Definitely didn't need a remake. I get why, because they wanted a live action version.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a bigger deviation in story and things like that. But it's just not. I don't find it necessary. But the legacy sequel thing. Back to my point. Really annoys me. That Matrix film was horrendous, and it's really annoying. It just flops, and I believe there is another film in the Matrix.
Well, that's the problem, because it comes at risk of damaging the legacy.
Yeah,
like even with the new Star Wars films,
definitely.
A lot of people are really upset because it damages Luke's character a lot.
I mean, Blade Runner. You were talking about Blade Runner. 2049's a really good example of how to do it. I would say right.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I enjoy Total Recall as well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of others. I really enjoyed, controversially, the new Robin Hood with Taron Egerton. I don't know if you watched that.
I didn't watch that.
I thought it was a really good interpretation. It obviously massively flopped at box office, but I really enjoyed it. I love Taron Egerton and Jamie Foxx is in it. It's actually got a really stacked cast, actually.
Should I have a quick look?
Have a quick look.
For my own...
Because I'm starting to struggle with names. It's got Jamie Dornan in it, who we think should be the new James Bond.
Shout out Jamie Dornan.
And yeah, great cast, great film.
2018.
Good interpretation, in my opinion.
That was in between when he was doing Kingsman as well, wasn't it?
Yes,
So I believe I think the Kingsman films were bookended by this. I can't remember when the second one came out. But yeah, so we have got in that film Taron Egerton, Jamie Foxx, Jamie Dornan, hopefully the next Bond. I'm going to say it again. Paul Anderson, who's fantastic. I really like Paul Anderson. He's done lots of good bits. F. Murray Abram. Is there anyone in particular you want to shout out? I'm just going to I'm passing the magic tablet of doom.
Ben Mendelsohn. That's it.
Ben Mendelsohn, who was also in
Rogue One. Yeah.
There you go.
And Tim Minchin.
Yes, Tim Minchin, who has done
great cast.
He's done some funny bits. But yeah, it's nice when you see an okay. But this is the problem. I was thinking this earlier. It feels like just a bit of a filler cinema. It's just like it's there to just exist.
Like, how many more Spider-Men do we really need?
We need as many as we can get, but
but I just completely disagree.
I am a big Spidey fan, as I think we know.
I think just give it 10, 15 years.
Don't give it 10, 15 years.
Spider-Man's had his time.
He's not had his time. There's an amazing wealth of stories there.
We don't need a new Spider-Man.
We don't need a new actor, no. Stick with Tom for a bit, and let's have another venture out in to see what he's doing now as a street-level hero.
I thought No Way Home was pretty awful. Sorry.
He's just saying things to wind me up now.
I didn't like it.
He's just saying things to wind me up, ladies and gentlemen. We're a little bit cranky today because we went out last night. Shout out to DJ Sturdy Thighs, Leanne, for the music bingo.
At Unbarred.
Can we mention that? We can mention that on the pod.
Yeah, it was a great night.
We had a great night. Jack won bingo.
I did win music bingo. Big comeback as well,
because
I was really not doing well for a long time, and it started rolling through. But that's bingo. That's bingo.
If you're unaware of how music bingo works, it's pretty much like bingo, but you've got songs that you're crossing off a sheet. We had a few beers last night.
Bit of a dance.
We had a bit of a dance, sing along. Made some new dog friends, didn't we?
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, sorry, random sign tangent.
I thought I'd just finish off.
We're wrapping up.
I'm gonna read out some of the recent live-action remakes.
Oh, go on.
And I want to give you... You need to give them a yay or a nay.
Okay.
All right? Are you ready?
Yay or a nay.
So most recently, Lilo and Stitch, 2024.
I wouldn't go to see it.
The Little Mermaid, 2023.
Maybe?
Wasn't liked, though, was it, really?
No.
Peter Pan and Wendy. I didn't even know that was a film. I haven't seen it.
Who's in that?
I haven't got a clue. I haven't seen it. Didn't even... But that's the point, isn't it?
That's the point. I think that's the point. Is that the point?
Cruella 2021. That was quite an interesting...
I watched that.
Yeah, that was... Yeah. I rated that as well.
I rated that. I like Margot Robbie, so that's why I watched it. But that's more of... I would say it's less of a... That's more of a...
Spin-off kind of thing.
Of thing, which is the point you're making.
Mulan 2020, that did very well.
That did very well. I didn't see it, but I heard it did very well.
Aladdin 2019, that's an interesting one.
Did go watch that.
Did you enjoy that? Not really.
Not particularly. It's
enjoyable.
It's enjoyable.
Forgettable.
It was very forgettable. I went to go and see it simply because I wanted to see Will Smith
as the genie.
Just because I was quite like, it's funny.
Dumbo 2019. I loved the original. I actually refused to watch a remake.
No, I don't think I'd watch a remake.
Beauty and the Beast 2017.
There's a fun story about that film, actually. Okay. I will tell, which I can tell on the podcast. When I was in my late teen years, being a young teenage boy trying to impress girls, I was going out with this girl who loved Beauty and the Beast for some reason. Okay. So we went to go and see it one afternoon, and I was like, "Oh, that was all right." And I was like, "Right, I think I'm." But I was not wanting to ever watch it again. We then went 2 weeks later to go and see it again. And I was like...
Did you enjoy it either time?
I didn't like it the second time, definitely. But the third time really solidified...
Your hatred for it.
My hatred for it. As I went with another group of friends. Like, we've bought tickets to go and see Beauty and the Beast. I was too late by that point.
I didn't rate it. Jungle Book 2016. I really, really liked Jungle Book. I thought that was brilliant. I think that's actually, in my opinion, one of the best examples of a remake, personally.
Yeah. It was all right. Again...
Wait, am I thinking of the other one?
You think of Tarzan?
No, definitely not, because that was awful. And the last one, Cinderella 2015.
Cinderella?
Not good.
It was not good. No. Is that it? We're just going to Disney ones now, aren't we? I think that's.
I think that's the last 10 or something.
That's the last 10
this decade. I think. Oh, it's last decade.
The last Disney ones that we've gone to, which usually I think our gripe is a lot of Disney.
So
remakes.
overall, more losses than wins.
More losses than wins in general. But yeah, I think that's everything we were going to talk about this week.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful. It's summer now, so go and enjoy.
It's nice and hot.
Please don't go and remake Jaws in the time between times that we're done this. So I'd rather not go and hear that when I leave. But yeah, that's everything. I think.
Stay tuned
for more
content.
We'll have some fresh produce coming soon. In summer.
Go watch Jumping Out the Window.
Go and watch Jumping Out the Window, please, and go and watch the fantastic behind the scenes interview that we did with Maya. That was absolutely fantastic. And stay tuned to our Instagram and all that jazz as usual. But yeah, I think that's everything, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. Cheers. Bye.
See you later, guys. Thank you very much.